do for the Lakers?
I'm squinting, but were they talking about DeAndre Ayton after a 33-point Game 7 loss? That's where the discussion was. I'm less concerned about what he is going to do for the Lakers as much as I'm concerned about what he's going to do to the Lakers. Now, what he can do for the Lakers, he can rebound, he can score, he is a big. The other problem I have, the two part is he going to frustrate this team? Is he going to disappoint them? Is he going to make J.J. Redick consider benching him come playoff time because he's not playing good enough defense and not getting to his mismatches? I'm worried about what this does for the chemistry, the locker room, LeBron, Luka. Yes, he'll have the rolling guy. Yes, he is a warm body that's 7 feet tall. I'm concerned about the disappointment of DeAndre Ayton coming to this team, that they are the only people who think they have a shot to make it anywhere in this come playoff time.
You're talking about his approach. You're talking about what he brings mentally, like his compete level.
Yes.
Those are scary things to question about when you've been in the league as long as he has been, right? When you've been
coming to a high-pressure situation like this.
And that's what you know. So to me, it's almost like he has to come in. If this doesn't get his attention, he doesn't belong in the league. When you have that kind of size, that kind of athletic ability, and what we saw Chris Paul unlock with him, that is one thing you have to keep in mind in Phoenix, is that it's there. Can Luka find it the way Chris Paul did? Now, Chris Paul got a little bit of a different way to lead, too, and motivate as well, stay in your ear. Is that something that Luka does? Not really. But is it something LeBron can do if he's there? It's something he could do, but he'd have to be properly motivated to do it. But for DeAndre Ayton, TB, this is his career. This is his career right now, walking into a situation like this.
Yeah, and we're also talking about a guy who's on a mid-level deal. We're not talking about a guy who's on a max contract. You guys are acting like they traded 3 first-round picks to get DeAndre Ayton.
But he's an important piece now.
No, I'm not saying
they didn't have a center.
I'm not saying he's not. He is a useful piece for them, but it's also a vastly different expectation when he is a guy who's signing a mid-level deal after getting bought out than when he was on a max contract in Phoenix as supposed to be a pillar of a team that just had gone to the NBA Finals, right? There's a way different set of expectations for him. J.J. Redick in that clip, he talked about the things that DeAndre Ayton can do. I did the same thing as in the clip. And he can find ways to get DeAndre Ayton those kind of matchups. JJ will do that. Luka Doncic will put the ball in his hands in good situations. So will LeBron James. I think he'll be put in a good position to succeed. I think he will be pretty good for the Lakers. I also don't think it moves the needle because the Lakers have a lot more problems than just getting a center.
Well, the problem may be they may not be the best team in their own state, possibly. So which team are you highest on in California amongst the Lakers, Clippers, and Warriors? Sorry to the Kings.
I was going to say, I forgot that team too,
I never
right?
forget. That's it. Sorry. I apologize.
Look, I'll say the Clippers, and if they can add, speaking of Chris Paul, if they can add him, he wants to stay in LA. That'd be great. I like what they've done in the offseason. They keep that team together. James Harden is a guy that we don't talk about that much anymore, as much as we used to, but he's coming off a fantastic season. It's all about health with them, obviously, but they've got size, they've got talent, they've got a great coach too in Tyler.
We saw in the first round of the playoffs the Nuggets and Clippers play what essentially was the Western Conference semifinals, a fantastic 7-game series between them in Denver. The Clippers have added Brook Lopez this offseason. They get James Harden back. If Kawhi Leonard is healthy, they're easily one of the top 4 teams in the West. I think they're clearly the best of the 3 teams we're talking about. I would put Golden State second. I think with their combo with Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry, with a healthy Draymond Green, we'll see what else they do this summer. Find out what happens with Jonathan Kuminga. I like their core better. And again, the Lakers don't have perimeter defense. They don't have a lot of shooting. They've lost Dorian Finney-Smith. Yes, they got DeAndre Ayton, but they have too many flaws to me to be a team that's getting out of the first round of the playoffs like Golden State did last year and like the Clippers would have done if they played just about anybody but Denver.
My brain is with you guys. My brain is Clippers. You look at the Clippers. I was all on board with them last year, especially what James Harden did to keep that team afloat until Kawhi Leonard came back. I love those couple of months that Kawhi Leonard was healthy. Kawhi looked like prime Kawhi again. Ty Lue did an incredible job coaching that team. I'm not on the Clippers, man. I'm not believing in this team anymore just because of what I saw in Game 7 against that Nuggets team. Another laid egg by James Harden where we're trusting this dude come playoff time, and we're trusting that Kawhi Leonard is going to be as healthy this season as he was last season. I was so disgusted by what I saw in that Game 7 with them and the Nuggets that I cannot convince myself. Like, I'm putting them in the Philadelphia Sixers bucket in terms of I'm not believing them come playoff time. Now, they're going to be a much better team, I think, than the Philadelphia 76ers. But at the same time, I'm not believing in playoff James Harden. I'm not believing this team pulling through come playoff time because we could talk about the injuries and the flukes and all that stuff. They did the same thing when Kawhi Leonard was healthy in the bubble. Like we can talk about injuries. Kawhi's been healthy and laid some playoff eggs and blew some playoff series. For me, who I think is the biggest threat coming out of California is the Golden State Warriors. A full year of Jimmy and Steph Curry figuring this thing out. During the last 3 months of that season, they looked as good as anybody in the West. And if Steph is healthy, they may have made it to the conference finals. We'll never know. But Steph is somebody who, given a full season, a full complement of players, and we'll see what they do with the Kuminga thing. That is the big question mark. And what do they do with to replace Looney? If it's Horford or anybody else, they still have some things to figure out. But for me, number one in California is the Golden State Warriors. Number 2 is the Clippers, solely because of what we saw from them in the playoffs.
Yeah, Golden State would change my mind if they get a center. You know, if they can get somebody like an Al Horford or somebody along those lines, like a vet who knows what he's doing. They needed size. They really were missing that, along with obviously Steph Curry. So I'd change my answer if they make a move like that.
All right, the 2000s in the NBA dominated by 2 Western Conference teams, the aforementioned Lakers and Spurs. From 1999 to 2010, one of these 2 teams were named champion in all but 3 seasons. As such, a great rivalry formed between LA and San Antonio, especially between their stars. Tony Parker says Kobe Bryant went to great lengths to get into his opponent's heads.
He started trash talking to me in French during the playoffs. So he learned the language to trash talk me in French. Because you know Kobe used to guard me.
Yeah.
They put Kobe on me all the time.
Yeah.
And he will start talking in French. I was
What
like,
did he say?
wow.
Can you say it or not?
I know, I'm not going to
Crazy.
say it. It's crazy stuff. No, just-
Kobe Bryant learned French.
You know what the
Trash
wildest
talk
thing
Tony
about that
Parker.
was? That Tony Parker has a Nando's in his house.
24-hour restaurant
24-hour
in
Nando's
his house. Well, if we're talking about Team Petty, we brought in our
I was
captain.
going to say, why am I here?
Kimberly A. Martin, captain of Team
You know why
Petty.
you're here.
She has the C on the jersey, the captain for
I'm
Team
not-
Petty. We will get to you in a second. Alan Hahn, greatest lengths you've gone to be petty.
I mean, I try to make this a short story. I went to junior college first, and I saw a basketball in the trophy case, 1,000 points. And I said to the AD, like, you know what? I want to put a ball in there. He's like, you're not going to get 1,000 points. Fast forward, end of the next season, I'm within range. We're playing a playoff game. I know how many I need. He's at the game. Every single point I scored, I counted and pointed to him until I got to 1,000, and I yelled in the middle of the game. People were like, what's wrong with this guy? I went right to him, 1,000. So now, in the future, there's now 4,000-point scorers in the school's history. There's only 3 balls in the trophy case. Guess who didn't get one?
No.
So the petty
Now
came
that's
back.
petty.
Wow.
That's boomerang
Wow.
issue. That's crazy. Knowing you, I'm not
Somehow a
surprised.
humble brag and a petty at the same time.
No, what
That's
do you
pretty
mean?
good.
Look, you want petty? That was petty.
Kimberly.
I don't have, guys, I'm actually a little offended that you think I would clearly have a petty story. I really don't.
All right, so then you can react.
Okay.
I'm changing my answer. Sorry to everybody producing. Well, back in the day when I worked at ESPN West Palm, we would have on radio, for somebody's birthday, let's say it was David's birthday, hey, everybody put in $10. Well, I was so competitive that every single time I put in $11. And I wanted to make sure every single person knew that I was the one that put in the most amount of money just to bother everybody else that we have. Oh, wow, we have $101. Where would that come from? I had to win. I was very
Is
petty.
that petty?
Okay, I'll give you another
Or
one. I'll give you.
narcissistic?
Oh
Like,
boy,
is that
here she goes. Oh boy.
Isn't one and the same sometimes?
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it petty? Okay. This must have been 9th grade, somewhere in high school. Girl drove baseline. She beat me. She was going up for the layup. I was going for the ball, but I just clotheslined her instead.
Oh,
And then-
forfeit.
and then-
Well, now we know why Kate Hart is here.